So I'm up here on the roof with my solar panels. So these were actually wired in parallel, which is great depending on what kind of controller you're using. But because I'm using the Blue Eddy, which has a very specific input requirements, I actually had to rewire them in serial just to make sure I get the voltages to the right spec. So if you're coming up with an electrical setup, just make sure that whatever controller or battery pack or whatever you're using, that the voltage and amperage that you're getting out of your solar panels matches what the input for your controller is. It's pretty easy to do, really. I already had all the connectors. You just wire them all in a row. Over here I had to use one of the Y connectors for the parallel setup as an extension of sorts, just temporarily until I get some of these connectors in the mail and I can make an extension, just because the cable from this solar panel here was not long enough to reach that solar panel. So now I'm inside the van. I've got the multimeter connected to the leads coming down from the solar panel, coming down through here. And we can see 73.6 volts. So that confirms that they're wired successfully in series. And this labeling here actually is incorrect. So you can see this is a positive, and this is connected backwards. So I need to relabel these to make sure I have the polarity correctly on the connectors when I make them. So it's looking a little bit messy in here, but we've had some good progress. Got the coin floor in here. So this is the G-Floor textured small coin from Home Depot. I just bought a 17 by 7.5, I think, roll of it. And I think it's gonna be just enough for me. So I put 2 sections on the floor, one in the back here, one in the front. Jay gave me an idea to kind of bathtub the walls here. So if it looks terrible because of this, is Jay's fault. But the walls are gonna go over this part, and it will hopefully keep some of the moisture from getting underneath the floor. And I plan to apply some caulking pretty liberally, and in the front's pretty straightforward. So I glued it down with some 3M 80 spray adhesive, which I'm not a big fan of, to be honest. It doesn't stick that well unless you use a ton of it, and it ends up being kind of expensive. On just the floor alone, I probably use 3.5 cans, this is not a big area, so it's kind of a lot. But overall, it looks like it turned out pretty well. And then I've actually already cut all the walls, and I'm just waiting for it to be a little bit warmer, and then I will go ahead and paint and carpet and all that kind of stuff with the walls. You can also see my electrical setup here. So I've got the shore power comes in. This is from the previous owner, just one of these little 2 plugs. And all I did is, because I didn't feel like running stuff all the way up top where the normal wiring is, this is just a ton of extra wiring. I just got an extension cord and some duplex marine wire. So this is run and connected to this little plug back here. It should be enough for practically anything I want to do back here. And then I'm just going to use the stock lights back here. I've got a button. They work great. They're plenty bright for me to load the bike or do whatever I got to do back here. And then it just runs along this here. I'll secure it somehow, or I might actually build a box around this anyway. And then it just all comes out here. Same thing with the wiring that runs from above, runs along that pillar right there, and then it runs underneath here, and it all comes out here. And it will all go into my box that's going to be back here, box bench. And you can see I already made it's all taped up, a little XT90 connector to connect to the Blue Eddy, fused and all that good stuff. And then there's, you know, the rest of the various wiring running here. So I've got a couple pieces left. You can see this is mostly for my front, but yeah, most of it is already cut. I've got my auto marine carpet from Menards that I'm gonna glue on, which is, it's pretty decent. It's nothing fancy, but it's very cheap. And it seems like it's good indoor-outdoor carpet. I've glued one panel for the coin floor. I'm gonna have it running up the sides of the garage a little bit. And I've actually used DAP Weldwood contact cement on this one, which I think I like a little bit more. It sticks way better and it's a little bit cheaper as well. So again, I'm not an expert, I'm just trying different stuff. For me, this is one big experiment. I've never built a van before, or really built much of anything out of plywood and adhesives and such. So this is all pretty new to me. So if you're thinking of building a Moto-van, even a pretty simple one, so mine's really simple and kind of basic, but look how many panels I had to cut. There's probably 20 panels or more. Look at all that stuff. I've just kind of sorted them in the ones I need to paint and the ones I need to do coin floor and the ones I need to carpet. And there's a lot of panels. So even for a basic interior, it's a lot more complicated than you would think. Also trying to make kind of a plan for my layout for my box. And what I'm thinking is I will have, so this is where the door of the van is going to be. And I'm going to have a kind of a, not a drawer, a cabinet that will open and allow me to get into the microwave. And then I will have my Bluetti. This is just going to be kind of a hole. And then there's going to be a drawer underneath the microwave. And I kind of want the cabinet for the microwave, or something that's you know, closable, mostly just so it just doesn't get gross. Because my dog's going to be going in and out all the time, and it's going to get, I don't want food related items mixing up with doggy mud. And the Bluetti, that's going to be a cutout because it needs ventilation, and I want to be able to kind of keep an eye on it, and be able to plug things in and out and so on. So this is just going to be kind of a cutout, probably approximately the size of the unit, and that should be pretty nice. And it's obviously, the box is going to open from the top as well, so I'll be able to take this stuff in and out. And there's a decent amount of room back here too, so I can have a bunch of wiring back here, and have a little bit of storage left over as well. And the other thing that I'm kind of thinking of is where I'm going to mount this panel, which is probably going to be kind of like here. So I'm trying to see if I can get a smaller panel as well, because I don't really need the AC outlets. So I might try to see if I can find a smaller panel that I can mount somewhere over here, as to give the microwave enough room to hang out. And underneath the microwave is going to be, my plan is to have a drawer that just can slide out, and then I can have a bunch of kind of kitchen-y stuff back in there. So it will be really nice because this is the door side. So I'll have a fridge right here, microwave right here, so I can actually do, and you know, all the cooking stuff, so I can cook outside the van, which is what I normally do, without having to go in and out of the van constantly. So it should work really well. So it's about a week after the last little clip here. I've started getting this stuff onto the inside of the van. I was out riding last weekend, so didn't really get anything done last weekend, but we're making some good progress. Everything fit a lot better than I thought it would, to be honest. I was not really that careful with how precisely I cut everything. It's like within plus or minus a half an inch. So I'm actually pretty impressed with how relatively little effort I put into it, how well everything fit. You can see some annoying bubbles there on some of the coin floor, so it's gonna be fun. I'm just gonna have to put something over that. Yeah, it's gotten really cold, and the glue and the materials have been expanding and contracting a lot, because it will be like 60 degrees in here during the day, and then it drops into the 20s at night. So it's a lot of expansion and contraction. But overall, it's starting to look pretty good. And you can see in the front, I still have the roof panels to get screwed up to the ceiling. And the rest of the stuff is just kind of loosely attached so far. It gets dark so early that I don't really have a ton of time to work on it in the evenings. So I'm trying to get as much done while it's still light outside. And yeah, I just wanted to film a little update, and I'll get cracking. The other main thing I need to figure out is I still need to kind of figure out finalize my sleeping situation. So this is the shelf here, which is too small to sleep on comfortably for me, without danger of rolling off of it. So I'll need to make some sort of expansion for it. Overall in the cab there should be enough space for me to sleep. I just need to figure out the actual setup. And I've got the logistics of tying things down, I think, mostly figured out. So I've got a bunch of tie downs, the factory tie downs over here, which should work pretty well for one side of the bike. I've got this L-track here in the middle, and it's bolted through the wall, so it's really sturdy. This is 1/2-inch plywood, and then there's a piece of steel on the other side, so it's not going anywhere. So tie down here for another bike, so I could put 2 bikes in forward, tie them down. There's actually 2 tie downs here. I just installed the one because I don't actually think I need 2 back here. If I do, I can cut the coin floor out and install the other one. But I think I'm gonna just tie down a chain or something in the back, just mostly as a precaution. You know, if you really slam on the brakes and the bike tries to go flying forward, it's still secured to a really beefy point in the back. So in addition to the wall preventing it from flying forward, there's also going to be something holding it back from behind. And yeah, other than that, the lights, like I was saying earlier, I'm just using the factory stuff. They're plenty bright. And yeah, secured the walls pretty well. I can see where I might have missed some with the paint. It actually looks better in person than it does on video now that I'm looking at it through my phone. I'm again with how quickly I was trying to put this together, it actually came out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it.